going to dethrone Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the all-time scoring champ. But my question to you is, if Kareem did not attend, 3 years of college?
Mm-hmm.
With that, and LeBron goes straight from high school, would that record still be the only thing that's untouchable, unreachable, all the above?
I think it would have been. I mean, the scoring, and I think Kareem probably would put a rebounding number that nobody would have caught. So, yeah, to answer his question, that probably would have happened. I think with rebounding and scoring, that would have been two numbers that you probably would not have gotten back. What he would have put to the table would have been, you got to think, this is young Kareem. This is not Kareem. This is Lou Alcindor. So Lou Alcindor was dropping, 30 and 20 on a nightly basis with Milwaukee. So I think he would have put a number up for scoring and rebounding that probably would have never been touched, because you give those 3 years back in his not the end of his career, in his prime, it would have been his early years. That would have been just numbers you wouldn't have found anywhere else.
I think all LeBron has to do is average, 25 points a game over the next
3.
Yeah, over the next 3. This season and the next 2.
Mm-hmm. So by the time the contract finishes, he'll be right at Kareem's number in that season.
He'll be at 38,000.
Somewhere around there, give or take, because you got mistake load management. You don't know about cancellation of COVID, so we really don't know the exact number. And the number kind of messed up last year with them missing games. They didn't play a full 82 last year, so I would probably think 2.5 is probably going to be the more reasonable number to get it.
Okay, so L.A. Broadus says on screen. So in his case, going to college hurt him, meaning Kareem.
I mean, of course. I mean, when you lose 3 potential years of playing in the NBA, then yeah, it's going to hurt your numbers. But I mean, the numbers Kareem did play till he was like 720. So he did lose 3 years in his early years, but he played till way past most players don't even play. So, yeah, if you get those 3 years back, I think he puts up. I mean, he's at 38,000 now. I think he would have probably hit close to 45,000 probably.
Is that an overestimation, or I was thinking more like 42? Because
you got to think that they're playing 70 games a year. I'm going to say he's going to average right around 29, 20, about 30 points a game. That's 2,000 points a year, but 3 years is 6,000 points on top of 38,000. You're looking at, right around almost 44 to 45,000 points.
Okay. Any regrets, do you think, from Kareem? Because, I mean, as gracious as Kareem is,
I don't think you have any regrets, because, I mean, when you play, you don't play for numbers. And when he retired, he put a number up that was almost impossible to get. I mean, you got to think Michael Jordan didn't come close to that number, even though he did miss an excess of 2+ years of basketball. I mean, Karl Malone played forever and just barely came close to it. Kobe Bryant, one of the best scorers in the history of the league, didn't get to it. You have guys like Carmelo Anthony, who's a walking bucket, that doesn't get it. You see the guy scoring 35 points a game now in James Harden. He would have to do that for another 10 or another 6 or 7 years to come close to that number. So it's like, and it was just consistency. He was averaging almost 20 points a game at 40. He's putting, the sky hook. No, I don't think there's no disappointment. I don't think there's nothing you can say he was disappointed with. I mean, the man won national championships at UCLA, so going to college was worth it. The man fought Bruce Lee. I don't think he has any more disappointment in life right
now. Oh my goodness. None other than Mike Patton is also in the building.
The general.
What's going on, y'all?
What's going on? Thank you for jumping in for a couple of minutes to join. We were just talking about the whole Kareem Abdul-Jabbar versus LeBron James, and the fact that Kareem went to college versus LeBron going straight from high school, because that's going to be, I guess we're no longer talking Jordan versus LeBron. We're talking now Kareem versus LeBron, because he's less than, just slightly over 3,000 points away?
Oh boy, oh boy. We definitely crossing generations here with this one.
Yeah. I mean, I can. All right, I'm gonna let y'all get this one. I remember watching Kareem play.
Oh my goodness.
Not when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks, but early on. I remember. I remember Magic's rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
Danny, you hearing this?
Listen, I'm waiting. I'm
we
waiting
never
for Ted.
can let him live this down.
I remember
Ted didn't watch him play college ball. Ted played PAL basketball with Kareem back in New York. Back in New York, they played PAL together.
I remember that.
Yeah, they played in PAL. They played in church league together. Of course they did.
No, I remember. All right, and here's the last thing, and I'm going to move on really, Bert, quickly from this. Yeah, I remember being in my kitchen, and we used to have a black and white TV, and my dad and I, we used to watch Sunday. I think it was CBS on NBA on CBS, and then he would tell me at certain points to move the rabbit ears because this was like before cable. This is back when cable was just HBO and WHT and dude, it's just some crazy stuff. And he'd be like, wait, hold on, Danny. Danny, he'd be like, hit the TV because there'd be like a little static on the TV. He'd be like, yo, hit the TV. And I'd be like, yeah, why we got to do this?
I mean, Ted, but didn't y'all go grab food in the car that you had to pedal with your feet as well, too?
Man, it is official. Ted is 148 years old.
No, I'm telling you, man.
Ted and Joe Lewis and the Barbers from Coming to America all were in the same shop together. Talk about Dr. Martin Luther King in the background.
Hey, you didn't know? Ted was actually the next person in line to get his haircut after Cuba Gooding Jr. That's how long ago this was.
Listen, and right before him, Controversy Raphael was in front of both of them. All right, so.
All right. Dude, I don't even want to talk about tonight's Nets game, Nets and Magic, because at one point, like, there was no intensity. I didn't even want to see the game. And then when I turned to it, it was like 35 points they were up. And I was just like, oh, this is as awful as I thought it was going to be. Like the guys got pulled out by the third quarter and everything else like that. I guess in a continuation from a discussion we had a couple of nights ago, I still need just a slight bit of convincing. Please tell me why James Harden shouldn't start over Kyrie Irving in the All-Star game.
It's easy. It's fans. I mean, it's the only logical answer.
Boy.
It's all fans. It's fan voting. Because I think if James Harden would have been in Brooklyn the entire year, I think he might have caught Kyrie Irving when it came to voting. Or Bradley Beal might not have been a starter. We don't know. No, that's the only reason why I think that that James Harden's not starting because of Kyrie, and I think the fact that he came late in the season, so later on in the season, so Harden's playing out of his mind. The real question is, I mean, they played Orlando tonight. They beat Orlando by 625 points tonight, right. And the real question is, can they do this in mid-May, to Memorial Day weekend, to June, to Father's Day? Can they continue to do that when it really matters? Because if they're not winning in May and June, and even into July, what happened tonight doesn't even matter.
Okay. Mike, you got a take on that?
Hold on. The Nets just scored again. Now I got to take on it. Okay. As far as the Nets, I mean, honestly, James Harden, I still feel he probably should have started over Kyrie, but like Danny said, he hadn't been in the Eastern Conference as long, and maybe there's some people that still have hard feelings about him not playing in Houston. Danny, we know some of those people, but we're not going to talk about that here. But,
yeah,
but
it's one potential free agent like DeMarcus Cousins. We don't know, but guys, like I said, I'm gonna let Mike take this. I'm gonna let Mike take my spot. I'm going to go enjoy the Mrs. America's Next Top Model. So I will see you guys
I have
later on the week.
Last question, Dan. I got one last question for you. Tell me what's your take on what's happening in the league now with the SPACs coming in, these private companies coming in and buying portions of NBA teams. Do you feel like there's going to be some type of conflict down the road?
I think as long as you have multiple owners and multiple teams, there's always going to be conflict of interest. So it's always going to be that. You got to have principal owners, and everybody has to be able to own one team. You know, you cannot have multiple players, multiple people running different teams. I mean, it only works in stuff like when you have multiple different sports, not the same sport.
Okay, got it. Danny, thanks a million.
All right, guys. I'll catch you guys later.
All right. Mike, we're only going to be on here short. We got just some wild questions from some trolls, and I guess they're
they're having the heebie-jeebies.
Let me see. Let me go to mute user, and mute user. So a question came up with LA Broadus said, are the Knicks actually back is my question. I mean, they're playing great.
The Knicks aren't all the way back yet. They are better, but, you know, they'll get all the way back once Tibbs stops letting Elfrid Payton start. Oh, that's driving me crazy. But other than that, I would say the Knicks aren't quite all the way back yet. They still have a few pieces and a few holes to fill. And, of course, players they have to continue to develop. But they're definitely on their way back. And the best thing about this entire thing is Dolan is nowhere to be found. That is the best thing for Knicks fans in the world, that he is nowhere around.
Hey, Mike, I just want to shift real quick because I know it's late and we all got to work tomorrow. Hold on one second. Someone just sent me a text message. Okay. Just did from studio. Okay. So a question for you. I was unable to get to you and Brian on your show. What in the world is going on with Russell Wilson? Is his team or his handlers throwing out feelers? What's happening here?
Well, the thing is, Russell Wilson is tired of getting hit repeatedly over and over again, multiple times in every game. And Seattle has basically taken former basketball players and and former defensive linemen and turned them into offensive linemen over his entire time being there, for the most part. And, you know, he's just tired of it. He's trying to survive and live. He shouldn't have to run around like Fran Tarkenton to make things happen. So that's where I think it's coming from. I think he's having a philosophical disagreement with how the Seattle Seahawks are doing it. And, of course, they're butting heads. So at that point, he's not necessarily looking for a trade right now. But the thing is, he's actually looking to let his voice be heard and actually talk about himself in terms of, you know, taking all those hits. Those accumulate. And, you know, after your playing career, those definitely are felt by a lot of different players. So like Dada Rocks is talking about making hype for Russell to get that top money offer. I don't think this is about money. I think Russ is already making top money. So this is about him living, you know, quality of life after you're playing instead of taking tremendous amounts of hits every single game. So this is very, very real. What's going on?
So, Mike, just as a quick follow-up to Dada Rocks, who's a good friend of mine for many, many years,
Mm-hmm.
Question is, if they were to give him another extension, would all of this talk go away?
I don't think an extension is in the cards right now, but even if with an extension, he's still going to keep, the points are still going to be there. He's still going to bring up this point until something is resolved or they make some kind of, some kind of move that can make him feel comfortable, or he's going to end up just basically complaining until he's either out of there or sits down.
What came in? LA Broader said, NFL doesn't want to turn into the NBA. They will do everything to make these players shut up. Agree or disagree?
That's true. They try to do everything to make them shut up. But the thing is, even though they're behind the NBA in terms of people making their voices be heard, they're trying to catch up and make up for time. And, honestly, one point that I did see last season is, Russell Wilson was one of the first people to step up and talk about the NFL not having a plan when leading up to the season. And it made them kind of shift themselves into gear and try to make something, quickly happen. So I definitely think players are stepping up, and I think that voice is growing.
Mike, was it a plan for COVID or a plan for social justice?
Yes, plan for COVID because they literally had the longest time of anybody, but yet they kept just sitting there, okay, it'll die down, and we can do what we need to do. It'll die down, and we can do what we need to do. Season's coming, it'll still die down. Season's getting closer, it'll still die down. That's where the players came out and kind of pushed their hand, and then of course, everything else came to follow as well. So,
So is this the common case of the quarterback who wants to be a GM, who wants to be the offensive coordinator, who wants to be the pro player developmental person? I mean,
no,
I get
this
it.
isn't the case.
Okay.
This isn't the case with him. This is more of, hey, I want to be protected as a quarterback instead of, oh, well, Russell can make a miss. He'll be all right. That's basically kind of what he feels right now.
And shifting gears again, Mike, where, I mean, and this has been, I'm sorry, because some of these topics overlap with some of the shows that you've been on. We talk about Deshaun Watson again. And we talk about, now it's, in theory, because I haven't heard it, I don't know if anyone has heard, but it's down to Miami, the Jets, or the Panthers. Why are the Panthers still in the mix if him and Cam Newton are homies, and, the whole treatment of Cam going out the door? What am I missing?
I honestly don't believe that the Carolina Panthers are in the mix for them. The person that I listen to a lot when it comes to talking about the Panthers is Nashina Quick. And, I don't think she gives a very high chance of, Deshaun Watson landing there. Of course he has to waive the no trade clause. So I honestly don't think Carolina is in the mix as much as people want to think they are, to be honest.
Okay. And there were discussions today that Deshaun Watson met up with his new coach, met up, with management, and he reiterated once again, "Get me out of here."
Right.
Did your sources report that also today?
I was reading Aaron Wilson, who very closely covers the team for the Houston Chronicle, and he indeed said that. So, yeah, Aaron is on the money pretty much all the time. So he definitely does not want to play for the Houston Texans anymore. I don't know why Culley would have thought he was going to change his mind at any point, but now here he is, the head coach of the Houston Texans, and your star player does not want to play for you, no matter what you tell him and things like that. So there you have it. He's got to go. He wants to go, and if it's coming to things like this, meeting up with him and telling him face to face that he does not want to play for them, then it could get worse come training camp. And I think, let's see, LA said, do you think Watson will sit out? I think he will. I definitely think Watson will sit out. And I think the longer this goes on, the longer this goes on, the less they will get for him in a trade.
So Watson is about, 5 years, 157 million, so roughly 30 million and change. You really think he's going to sit out and let $30 million go out the door?
I think he will. And honestly, what I'm taking a look at here is, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, he's not going to do it. He wants his money, this, that, and the other. And I get that. But you also got to remember, as many people are looking at Watson and how he's handling the situation, a lot of players are looking at how the Houston Texans handle the situation. And if this gets messy, do you think that's going to be attractive for free agents in the future? I don't think so. And then also one thing I also is to mention is, you know, a trade is likely probably after June 1st because the Houston Texans can save $6 million against their cap if they trade him after June 1st. But, you know, they can have a deal in place. So more than likely, the picks that get traded for him will be 2022 picks and not this year's draft.
Hey, I just want to hit up some comments really quick. Donna Rock said, and we might have answered this already, but he mentioned, will he take the trade? He meaning Russell Wilson. LA Broadus provided back saying no. And does he stay put? LA Broadus said yes, that cap hit will cripple them. They will just need to build a line to protect him. But so the question is, what's the cap hit, Mike? Do you know offhand? I'm sorry to put you out there. And if you don't know offhand, it's okay. What would be the cap hit against the Seattle Seahawks if they traded Russell Wilson?
I don't know, but I'm suspecting that it'll be a pretty substantial one with the team paying Bobby Wagner still pretty good money. You're paying KJ Wright and you're paying some other pieces around that team. It can definitely lock up that cap like LA said.
Hey, big shout out to Information Man TV, our guy, Information Man. Want to thank you for the award, the High Five Award. As always, just in case if you don't subscribe to Information Man, you got to make sure you subscribe to his show. It's, you know, not only, I don't want to peg him as saying it's a progressive show. It's just informative. It's just, he cuts away all the fat and gets right to what the story is. So make sure if you're on Haps, log in to Information Man and, you know, follow all of his handles. If you're on Facebook, look for Information Man. I think it's Information Man 06, but Haps would be the way to go. LA Broadus said Panthers are only mentioned because of assets, but I doubt he'll go there. You agree with that, Mike?
I do agree with that. Me and LA are on the same page. And also what he did say it's $21 million in dead money. That would be for the Seahawks if they were to trade him.
Okay. As we shift, my next to last question for you, because like I said, I know it is Late Night Parents, and the ways to follow the show is latenightparents.com, but some of us have to go to work in the morning. So I want to be mindful of that. Danny Thompson got on out of here real quick. I'm going to give him an earful. Not just kidding. Before I get to my next to last question with you, are you joining the broadcast tomorrow? The Haps, did you hear the Haps is having like a broadcast?
They're having an all-nighter.
Half all-nighter. So I think we're going to join at 8:15. I'm not sure if it's 8:15. So this goes at the Information Man also. I think we're all going to join the same session. I'll communicate with you through DM on your Twitter account. But I think Danny was saying 8:15 because he has to cover Charlotte's game tomorrow. So,
Right.
and since they're on the West Coast, they're covering the West Coast, he was thinking around about 8:15. So that's 8:15 Eastern my time. You're in a different time
7:15
zone.
me.
Information man, that would be 5:15 his time.
Yep. Correct.
So we'll see what we can do and jump on for a panel and just to chop it up. I heard another thing about Alex Smith. Did you hear anything about Alex Smith?
Well, I definitely heard that he didn't feel like he was wanted in Washington D.C. last year, or excuse me, with the Washington football team last year. That was pretty interesting. He definitely is trying to make his comeback and things like that. And from the outside looking in, it would be like you might be thankful to kind of have Alex Smith with all the issues you were having at quarterback, but unfortunately, didn't really feel like he was accepted there. So. Hey, I get it in terms of some sense because you're like, do we really want him playing out here and potential of injury, anything like that? And plus, he wasn't Ron Rivera's guy. That's always the big thing.
Right. But if you had Haskins, who was a dumpster fire, and maybe I'm being too harsh, but it just seemed like maybe, okay, let me retract it. The team was a dumpster fire. So you throw him in there into that mix because, only thing we saw from him was bad PR. Because I know living in New York, the Giants fans on WFAN in New York were screaming for Dwayne Haskins. And when Danny Jones got chosen, people were like, thumbs down, we should have got Haskins. So here it is. A season later, people are like, "Oh man, we're glad we didn't pick Haskins." So you got that situation. You got the team being the team known as the Washington football team. But to hear that from Alex Smith, I mean, wasn't he like comeback player of the year, or do I have this wrong?
No, you're right.
And not feeling wanted. Like you said, okay, he's not Ron Rivera's guy, but geez. Well, I mean, didn't they go like 7-9?
It sure did. They went 7-9 and backed on into the playoffs. So I said backed on into the playoffs. But,
right. Right. Ellie Broader says the quarterback situation was a mess. They honestly didn't know what Alex would bring. So I see it both ways for sure. That's kind of what you said, Mike, a little bit, where, they didn't know what they were getting versus, and he's like, okay, they haven't fully embraced me. I don't know. I'll leave it at that. Okay, and let me come down to final question, non-football related, golf related, Tiger Woods. His accident, everything else like that, multiple surgeries. I just want to talk to you about the cesspool called Twitter and all the stuff that I saw out there that was negative about impairment and everything else like that. How, it just seems like we've fallen into this mess that before there's any actual reports that people, I know there's a need to be first. Everyone wants to be Adam Schefter. At what point does this stop? How do you soil someone's name and you don't know what the heck is going on?
Well, it's easy. You can always hide behind a computer screen or a fake name or anything of that nature. While in my mind, I do wonder what all happened. Of course, I'm not going to be out there throwing it all out there. First things first is, I'm wanting him to be okay.
Right.
That's the first thing. It's actually, I'm glad his kids don't have to grow up without a dad.
Right.
So, in that instance, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's want and let things unfold as opposed to just jumping out there. And, this man could have lost his life. So I'm not, jumping in this arena in terms of talking about it. But yeah, LA said it correct. It's only going to get worse. The world does not have empathy anymore. Yeah, that's correct. And the thing is, what's interesting is the people that are screaming and yelling and saying all the different things about Tiger, they could potentially be the one that needs empathy in some type of situation that happens to them. And then they're not going to get it. And then they're going to be, feeling awful or feeling a certain type of way when they didn't provide that for someone else. So it's easy to see something when it doesn't happen to you. But when it happens to you, it's time to change your tune or act a certain way or do certain things. And, it goes for a lot of things in our world and in this life.
We're rooting for him to come back, but we're rooting for him to just get healthy, be able to be a dad to his kids, just to be around, just to be able to walk and talk and function and something like this is just, really, really scary situation. I guess I'm like you and like a lot of other people, just annoyed with the amount of noise that comes out of social media. Like I said, total cesspool. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this, Ted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily annoyed by it at this point because at this point when it comes to social media, you ought to kind of expect it to happen at this point. It's like LA said, it's only going to get worse and worse, and it is what it is, and people are going to be who they are. And the thing about a lot of people is they continue to feel a certain way and act out a certain way, and then when it happens to them, or if they're in a certain situation, then they want someone to treat them differently than they treated someone else previously. And that's not necessarily how it works.
No, it's not. Not non-sports related question to wrap this thing up. Though we are on the Haps network and we love Haps.tv, have you joined question? And it's about totally audio environment. Have you joined Clubhouse? Have you had any inspiration to join it? Are you interested in that audio only feature?
Honestly, full disclosure, I cannot join Clubhouse. You know why I cannot join Clubhouse?
Why not?
I do not have an iPhone.
So, good answer.
You go.
Good answer. And final comment we'll read on screen. LA Broadus. Is LA down with 3-point conversion?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is the man with the plan.
All right.
Yes,
LA, we gonna get you up here on the next one. He says they act like Tiger murdered someone. What he did, folks do every day. Cheating folks act like they are so holy. This infidelity. I just leave it at that. I'll just say infidelity. It's you say that word enough, and people are like, ah. And LA also said Clubhouse was cool, but it got old really quick. I think a platform like that is great. So I listened to last night. So I'm IT by trade. I listened to Bill Gates last night. He talked about pandemics. He talked about vaccines. He talked about farming. He talked about the Green New Deal. We talked about windmills. He talked about everything except technology. The only technology item that he talked about, which was a fail, he was like, he favors Bing over Google. And it's not really a fail because it's his product. It's in his wheelhouse. That's just like,
right.
Hey, Mike, so, hey, are you interested in doing a show called the NFC West or AFC South? And you're going to be like, why would you even ask me about that? So I thought it was good. I think the platform is good. if you have like these ultra celebrities, ultra, change agents on platforms like that where you can join a room and you can listen and stuff like that. I'm sorry that it's only iOS only.
It is what it is. That's how it usually goes when it comes to something brand new or something of that nature. So it really doesn't bother me. And of course, I know people have the iPhone jokes, but that really doesn't bother me either. So if you got them, keep them coming. They do entertain me.
Last thing, LA Brothers, like I said, we're going to bring you up on the next show. I hope you have a Haps account. And if you don't have a Haps account, get an invite from Big Mike.
He's on here.
Oh, he's on there. Okay, great. Definitely a place to get a different perspective. He's talking about Clubhouse from people around the world if the rooms are run correctly. And he said Apple is king. Okay, so definitely next time, because I think Danny's got to do a stream tomorrow. And Mike, did you do your stream for the week?
Yeah, I did. I didn't reach 250 though, so I'm probably going to do another one.
So we'll probably be back on here on Saturday. Mike, tell us.
Probably early.
You said early?
Probably not early, but probably about 1 or 2 o'clock my time.
Okay. Let me know. I'll jump on with you and share it out. Mike, tell our listeners or viewers where we can find your footprint.
All right. Well, you can find me on here always every Thursday with my show touring the AFC South. Tonight I had Jaguars beat writer John Reed. And, of course, we talked about any and everything Jacksonville, including the mistake that was Chris Doyle. We talked about that, too. Also, you can find me on 3-Point Conversion. Definitely, I did an article this week talking about the top 5 free agent people that they need to keep on the team, from most important to least important. And you can also catch me on Twitter at Mike Patton 82. You pretty much catch anything I do at that point, whether it be my writing exploits, my writing alter ego, in different type of writing, like writing, poetry and short stories and things like that. But yeah, you can catch everything on Twitter at Mike Patton 82.
Mike, can I challenge you that the next live stream we do, that you can display to us somehow a portion of one of your short stories?
Let's see. I've published. I've had like 6 of them published, so I can definitely talk about a few of them. And I've got something else for you too. I've got 4 of them. Yeah, 4 of them that I've actually started simultaneously and I have about 4 chapters done in all 4 of them.
Wow. LA Brothers, thanks for the Stay Safe Award. Information Man, thanks for the love. Dada Rocks, as always, you know how we are. Dada Rocks and I go back 14 years in this IT.
I thought you were going to say 145.
That's the number I'm playing tomorrow at the illegal spot, but that's another conversation. Guys, as always, Mike, as always, thank you for joining. I'll jump on your pod, and I'll try to coordinate a bunch of us jumping on tomorrow for the Hapsathon. All right?
All right. I'll see what I can do.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.